All right, Ian, we haven't spoken about the Polymega in quite a while. The Polymega is to be the modular emulation based. I can't believe I forgot to bring it up during our Xbox emulation device segment, saying this is going to cost $300 to $400 for the base unit, but then they have you buy the modular units to play NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and TurboGrafx-16 right now. The main unit plays emulation disk systems, PlayStation, Neo Geo CD, PC Engine CD, Sega Saturn is the one they're touting, and I might be missing one in my head. But those are the main ones, the main 4 or 5 CD systems. This was originally supposed to come out last year, like spring of last year.
April 1st, 2019, I believe, was the first target release date.
They originally started taking money for it. I believe it was early fall, September 2018. We first reported on it through their website. No Kickstarter, no Indiegogo,
right? Because
it was early in development. This has been development for several years now.
I think that they announced it in 2017.
I personally saw the original prototype.
It had, I mean, it had a different name at one point, Retro Blocks or something like that. I think
it was Retro Blocks.
Yeah.
So not Retro Blocks. That's the company. Retro Blocks is the game. God, now you threw me off. I'll look it up in a second. But I saw the original version of this at SoCal Retro Gaming Expo 2017 Super Bowl weekend when they had it there. And at the time I was like, well, this looks like could be something. The disc-based emulation is something interesting that hadn't been around at that point. The Sega Saturn thing was promising back then. But a lot has changed in almost 4 years since then. We've had NES and SNES classics come out.
How much did you say the Polymega was? I think you said it was...
base unit was like $300 to $400.
Yeah, it's 400. You said 3.
Well, I think it was 300 originally when you ordered it on their site.
Yeah, it's 400 with the wireless controller.
I don't want them. I don't want to tweet from the founder come after me. And then the modules are, what are they, between $60 and $80 or whatever with the controller.
Modules appear to be 80.
So the point is, in the past 4 years, lots have changed. We've had multiple FPGA consoles come out, multiple ones from Analog, covering, and they re-released. They did the NES one, Super Nintendo, Genesis. We have a TurboGrafx one coming out. Lots of emulation solutions have come out the past years. Mini consoles out the wazoo, multiple mini consoles, official releases. We've had 5 official ones, 5 official ones in the past 4 years. Or NES Classic was late 2016, I believe.
So you love it or hate them. You can't also discount the fact that I think it was in early 2019 or late 2018, Hyperkin started releasing all of their units in HD form, including their Retron 2s and their Retron 3s in HD, all under $100. You know, some doing multiple systems. All
the HD cables that have come out for almost all these systems the past few years.
So what we're looking at is, you know, an idea that on the surface of it was interesting 4 years ago is now sitting at a point where, and we'll get to this, it's not released yet, and the need for something like this seems to be slipping away.
Yes.
So on that note, it was supposed to come out in April 2019. It did not. I don't have a full timeline of the delays, but it was recently delayed again to February 2021. They announced this on their Twitter page with a tweet with the replies turned off. They must have known that that was not going to go over super well.
Yes. They have not been the best on communication, and he's looking at their social media. They had not had a main tweet on their account since September 6th before that. So they went dark. You can't go dark when you have taken people's money, pre-order money.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's not like this is a product that you know, we're just funding this with investors, and from what I hear, they even have investor money as well put into this. When you've had people's money now for like 2 years, And we're talking over, we're talking seven figures of money, millions of dollars, low millions, but millions of dollars of people's money. You have to communicate with people. What the hell is happening?
Right. And I think what they did that I think has bummed some people out is they sent out beta units. And there are people I know who have beta units to kind of talk about the system and go over it in videos. And while that is certainly a proof of the concept being viable, it does not mean that these things are in production, or that just because they have it viable, they have the manufacturing figured out or worked out.
No, and you're not even seeing the final model that's going to be rolled out potentially out of the warehouse, out of the factory.
Right.
So yeah.
So I think, and on one hand, they released those beta units to get, to start showing people that things were in action because they were running out of time. But the problem is when you get to a point now where you have to delay that again, you get people wondering, well, then why did they get these units? What's going on here? Is this actually going into production? I do think that this is probably going into production. It's just not looking, it is in production now. That's what they say. It just doesn't look good. The last time they delayed it, they said, long story short, I'm cutting ahead. This was 7th of July. This was July 7th of this year. This was the message they sent out. Last month, we were informed of the untimely closure of an important partner in the overseas supply chain. Factory was responsible for producing several PCBs used on this product and shipping it to the final production factory for assembly, skipping over a bunch of stuff. The impact is that the official worldwide launch of Polymega has changed to November 15th or earlier, in capitals, bolds, and underlined, for both the base unit and the 4 launch models. And they went silent until like this past week. And I think that's what really pissed people off.
So in July, they say November
15th or earlier.
Nothing for months saying, oh, we're not going to hit that date. This is the thing we bring up when it comes to these upstart manufacturers. Again, it's all about managing expectations. That's what half of this stuff is when you do pre-orders. You have to know, if you are competent, when your product will be likely to ship. You have to, if you're running a business. There's too many moving parts to not know that this is not going to come out. Whether it's this or the freaking Amico, you have to know, if you're running a company, months and months and months, several months in advance, we're not going to hit the date. There is no advantage at all to keeping that information private unless you think it's going to look bad if I tell people this is delayed again.
Right.
You have people's money. It is ethical to let them know this is not going to come out when we said it will. Don't keep that information to yourself. There's no reason to. You're just going to piss people off more.
Yeah.
If you're afraid that, well, they're going to be mad, they're going to be even more mad if you hold that information until when the product's supposed to come out or be in production. Again, when you produce this stuff in a factory in China and have it be landed in the US to ship, this has to be in production months in advance, this stuff. It takes weeks, if not a month, depending upon your how many you're pumping out, to get it through the factory, do the quality control. We got to put them on a freighter, get them literally on a freighter from China to the US, get them through customs, get them to where now we can ship them from a location. This is months and months that has to be put into the scheduling it. So it's nuts to not just tell people this isn't going to happen.
And to do it this way, it's going to make people angry. I mean, this article that I'm reading on Nintendo Life, and there's someone who has a beta unit. This article on Nintendo Life announcing this most recent delay is from Friday, November 13th. So 2 days before people were supposed to have.
Yeah, I don't know how we didn't talk about this earlier. No, we weren't alerted about this. I had no idea
units.
that was supposed to be November 15th and it wasn't hit. So I'm not going to get on too much on the access media or influencers, but when you pump up these products that you got an early version of that hasn't shipped yet or been manufactured, you're doing a disservice to your audience potentially, who may now be in for a pre-order of one, who may not get it not only when they expect it. There's that weird possibility in some of these cases they may not get anything at all. So when it's an upstart company that has not shipped anything yet, a product that's been in development for years, whether it's this or another item, you got to be very, very careful handling this stuff. Very careful.
Yeah.
That's it. Because we've seen this on other crappier devices like that fucking Retro Engine Sigma. We've seen it on that fly-by-night fucking Dreamcade shit where, yeah, you can send out units to YouTubers who'll talk them up. That doesn't mean the end product's going to be good. It doesn't mean the product's going to be supported after a while. It doesn't mean the company is going to even get you the product potentially. It's the difference between that and a company like Nintendo sending you something that you're 100% guaranteed is going to come out. Like, it's guaranteed. If Nintendo sends out to influencers, it's fucking made already. Like, if they send you Mario Maker on the Wii U, that's coming out. It's coming out. These are startups. There's no guarantee that these startups are going to be profitable or they're going to even come up with a product until it's in your hands.
Right. And, I feel like we've had some people be like, oh, well, you're kinder to analog or you're enthusiastic about the Playdate. I have plenty of problems with analog, but analog has shipped multiple finished products.
They've never not shipped a console that they said they're going to ship.
Playdate has, is their own company, but they've utilized design from Teenage Engineering, a company with multiple shipped products
Track
that
record.
I have held.
Yes. There
are more people involved in this. It's not literally a company doing their first ever thing.
Sure. So that's, again, something to watch out for. So they're claiming that this is in manufacturing now. It has to be to come out in February. It would have to be.
And that's the one thing that's got me.
Hopefully,
I mean, I have no dog in this race because I have not ordered one. And I'm not looking. That's a different conversation. But look, if you like it and it's going to do what you want it to do, great. But that's the one reason I think that this is actually going to come out in February. They're stating it now. I feel like it would take massive cojones to say that it's in production and coming out in February if it's not. I mean, that will end them. But
hey, things happen in production. Things sometimes don't go smoothly. They have to go back to the drawing board on a piece or two. Like,
sure.
So hopefully they're past that part of it where we figure out, oh, this is off by this amount, micrometer. Let's redo this part.
I mean, I feel like for people who are excited about this, to give them, at least some breath of relief, I feel like they're probably past that point. If there are beta units out and they're fully assembled beta units and they look like it, they're not in, cardboard boxes. They don't have wires
weird
sticking
colors.
out. Right. They look like a finished product. I think it's reasonable to assume that they are beyond that.
Knocking on.
Didn't say guaranteed. Said reasonable to assume.
I mean, I don't want this to fail because there's tons of money that people have given to this product. Like, that's where it's like, I don't want it to fail.
No, I want people to get what they put their money in for, and that's it.
Once they get it, if the company goes out of business, well, that's fine. People got their product. Like, then I don't care at that point. Obviously, it's bad for the investors and the team that's worked at this point probably, 5 years probably on this. At this point, probably close to 5 years to get this out. But I think like Ian and I have bloviated about this. I think the world has passed them by with this product. I think even 2 years ago they could have got away with putting this out. Now, with how things have leaps and bounds and all these new products, there's just too many things. There's just too many options.
The core unit I can see still being appealing to people who are fine with emulation over FPGA or original hardware, but don't want to take the time to do what the Polymega is doing on, say, a laptop or something that they're hooking up to a TV.
Sure.
Then there's the price. $400 is a bit much for me at that point. I feel like I would probably just figure out how to do the emulation on my own. But like I said, I really am not trying to sound too hard on it.
Oh, it was called the Retro Blocks. I thought it was called something else.
I told you.
All right. Well, I thought it didn't sound right in my head for some reason.
That's why they changed it. It didn't sound right to anyone. You were thinking of Roblox.
That's what I mean. I was confused to it. It sounds too close to that. But again, this not that I playing CEO. If I was this company though, what would I have done, Ian? Not even worried about the modules and just put out the disc-based unit, since that's what most people really want this for anyway. And focus on that. They want the Sega Saturn. That's the one thing people are excited about. Sega Saturn, PS1, That's what people want the solution for is that, since that was not an existing product.
Right.
All the other modules, there's 85 ways to play pre-existing forms of that, even in HD version with the real media, but not the disc-based stuff. That was the key to me. That's where they should have threw everything behind it and said, fuck the modules and all that development costs for that bullshit and all the molds for that, and we'll just worry about that shit years later. Let's just get out the main product first and establish the base of our consumers. Have that done years ago, and now you roll out the modules. Doing it all at once was a huge, I mean huge misstep that might have cost them their entire business potentially. But they have the Sinden light gun as well, which is their version of, which is going to be a cool thing to have as well, which I hope to see the Sinden light gun out on other forms and consoles. By the way, quickly, their update on their site, their update. They redid their site. They this is what the weirdest thing about their communication is. They found it upon themselves to do myth busting. We've seen rumors swirling around the state of Polymega in light of some valid retailer issues and speculation from pot stirrers that we've suddenly packed our bags and decided not to release Polymega, despite putting years of effort into making the system the very best legacy games console on the market. This couldn't be further from the truth. Verdict false. The people peddling this theory on social media are the same people who have been trying to cast doubt on Polymega since day one, so no surprises there. This should not be on your website. Like,
companies really need to get over this whole "we're standing against the haters" shit. Like,
this is not professional. It makes you look weak-minded. It makes you look like you're wasting your time, even responding to this stuff. Put out your fucking product. Let your product speak for itself.
yeah,
That's how you build your brand. That's how you make money. Don't worry about responding to every person that disagrees with you.
That's something I've gotten from the Polymega team when I read their updates and stuff. There's a lot of deflecting and a lot of defensiveness. Just say you fucked up and it's coming.
And then this is something that we've spent over $1 million on procurement manufacturing in the last month alone and are comfortably in position to deliver the first batch of 5,000 Polymega. I don't care how much you spent on your manufacturing. If I gave you money, I don't care. That's not my concern. Give me my product.
Yeah, are you bragging? Are you trying to make us feel bad? You're a business. Do it.
You don't whine about this stuff when you're developing any product, whether it's a book, whether it's a game, whether it's a console. Get it done. Get it done and deliver your product. Ship your product. Put it in people's hands. That's your only goal at this point, when it's been over two years. Almost over 2 years since you've had people's money on this. So that's the last thing I want to say. I hope it's a good product. I hope people enjoy this. I hope they get it. But this has been, I'm not going out on a limb saying I believe this has been wildly mishandled, this project.
Yeah.